in the region. And this webinar has been set up by Business France. Here is Jérôme Maréchal, the representative of Business France. And it comes with the participation of the sister association in Argentina, the Agencia Argentina de Inversión y Comercio Exterior, with Paula Mayer, who will be the moderator of this conversation. We are very happy to present the ecosystem, the environment of how Argentina produces video game, works internationally with other countries, and especially with France. It is a pleasure to be here with professionals, with universities, and with the Professional Association of Developers in Argentina, the ADVA, with Miguel Martin and Mariana Obeid. But Paula will introduce everybody with more precision than me. So just to say, we're very happy to have you there. That is the first webinar that might lead to others in association with Institut Français, Business France, and all the professionals in Argentina that are very happy to present what they do and how we can cooperate together.
Merci beaucoup, Rémi. Well, to begin with, there'll be 3 panels. The first one, named Industry of Talents, followed by the panel named France and Argentina Co-Productions Experience. And last but not least, the panel named Professional Education and Program. During each panel, we invite our audience to post your questions at the chat box, and we'll read them all after at the Q&A section. On this first panel, Industry of Talents, we welcome Miguel Martin, Executive Director, and Mariana Obeid, Secretary, both from ADVA, Argentina Game Developers Association. They will present us the game ecosystem in Argentina with the main highlights and achievements of the industry during the last few years. And they will also focus on the recent edition of IVA 2020, which has been the first 100% online experience.
Thanks, Paula. Thanks also Jerome and Remy for this kindly invitation. As Paula said, my name is Miguel Martin. I am the Executive Director of the Argentine Game Developers Association. We are very happy to have you there. Each of you are very important for us and for this seminar in order to, well, to start or continue, in some cases, the bridge, the cultural and production bridge that we are trying to construct each other and in as a team. We are part as association of the LATAM Game Dev Federation. It's an institution that has well, more than almost 20 years of institutional life. We have nowadays 120 studios in our portfolio. You can well, know more about us and our partners in adva.bg. So in the last part of the presentation, we will share all the contact information. As institution of that represent companies and professionals, we are focused in promote the growth of the digital entertainment and co-productions between our country, the region, and the whole world. And well, let me present now a short reel about us. Well, now we would like to present each other. My name is Miguel Martin. I am the executive director of ADVA, and is also with me representing the chamber, Mariano Bay. Mariano, hi, good morning, good afternoon for the people in France.
Hi, my name is Mariano Bay. I am currently the secretary at ADVA, the Argentinian Association of Video Game Developers. I am the director of my own studio called Kilobanis, and I am the head of evaluator in an incubator called the Rabbit Hole. And that's basically.
Well, this is a short presentation about the report of the Observatory, some important issues about the industry here in Argentina. You are looking the numbers. After the webinar, we would like to share our presentation so you can read it with more time. But for us, the most important thing in this almost 20 years of working is that we learn that the powerful of the games, of the production, of this creative industry is more powerful if we make it together. ADVA was born in the first steps of 2000 as a group of young people, very passionate gamers, and they would like to know how the games are made by, and they start to study, and they start to travel around the world to the festivals and international markets that in that moment had take place in States and some in Europe. And well, nowadays we have a young industry. Yes, we are young, producing games, but we have some important cases that the guys are with us to present some games and some studios cases that are very interesting. And nowadays we have a strong industry that are trying to produce their own games with effort and with love of this industry. And we would like to make cultural and also business bridge. We are trying to make co-productions. This is our main goal of this first meeting. And we have a very big country. Argentina is geographically talking about. It's a big country with a lot of kilometers, and during the last 10 years, the production reached a diversity, also geographic and in terms of content, very interesting. In Latam, in our region, we have the first woman as president of an institution like ADVA. ADVA was the first chamber born in Latin America, and really we are very proud to have this project, the Observatory, in association with the National University of Rafaela Santa Fe, that they are after us will presenting more deeply this interesting studio. Well, Mariano.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Miguel, for the introduction and the numbers that you just showed. Basically, what I wanted to express to our friends counterpart is how tight we are as, or the potential that we have as different, even if we are in different countries, how close we can be in order to work together. One of the first things I want to mention, or one of the main points that could be something that could ease how we work in co-productions or as clients and providers is, if you could jump to the next presentation, is that Buenos Aires or the whole Argentina is in the same time zone, that is GMT -3, meaning that we are 3 hours earlier than Greenwich Meridian. And well, right now, since you are on summertime, we are 5 hours apart, meaning that when we enter our offices at 9 a.m., for you is 2 p.m. But if you work until 6 p.m., you will have 4 hours that we share of the business day. But from the 25th, you will enter the European standard time, right? So we will have like 5 full hours that we will share from our working day. That is not minor. It's something. No, come back, please, Miguel. Okay, so it's not a minor thing. It's something that sometimes becomes a struggle when you're working with too many hours of difference. For example, when we are working with China or Japan or Australia, we encounter that we are almost half a day apart, and we never encounter each other to have a meeting or to make a follow-up on the project. But at the same time, what happens is that we are only 4 hours apart from the west coast of the States. So we could easily help you if you happen to have a food in Argentina. It could easily help France to have more interconnected hours with a branch in the West Coast, for example, or to have a team that is spread but centralized in a time zone that is convenient for both America and the West Coast of America. If you could jump to the next presentation. There's also a cultural thing that you might not know, but Buenos Aires sometimes is called the Latin America Paris. As you can see, these are 3 pictures from Buenos Aires at the left, 3 pictures from Paris at the right, and you might see much of the architecture of Buenos Aires, mainly the street called Alvear Avenue, is based on French architecture, and it has to. Oh. This has to. Sorry, I'm loose forward here, but it has to do with the connection that we have, since Argentina, as you know, it's basically a country made by immigrants. We are a mix of cultures, and France is one of the cultures that we gathered when we were born, and at the same time we have a difference in language. As you can see, even if I am fluent in English, I'm getting mess and losing for words here. Both French and Spanish having roots in Romance languages, in Latin, that helps us to ease those bridges in order to work together and get to understand each other a little better. Also, I wanted to bring these 2 cases to the table because they are worth mentioning, cases of co-productions or collaborations in between Argentina and France that that they couldn't be here on the table because of a time constraint, but they are added to the case that Pablo and Paul and Juan Martin will be telling you. They show how we are really entangled. Wopilon happens to be an art for games, a game art studio that is based in Paris. The owner is an Argentinian, and he works a lot with people both in France and in Argentina. And other of the studios we wanted to mention is Pixel. Pixel is a big studio here in Argentina based on their own IPs that they were founded by two French guys that are Arthur and Sebastian, that they just sold the company to a Chinese company, but it was although they were French all along because they never lose their accent, they were always Argentina at the same time. It's a studio that we always thought as an Argentinian studio, even when it was founded by French people with French capital. So basically, that's these two cases that I wanted to show. I don't know, Miguel, if you want to keep going from here.
Yes, Natalia Castillo from Córdoba City is here in the meeting. She's part of the head of Wopidom in Argentina. Hi, Natalia, thanks for are with us. Well, to advance, we have really a few minutes. Paula, we are okay, or we have to? Okay, yes. Well, our main objective, as I said, is to promote the investment in original content through all of Argentina. We work with the public ecosystem and also the private. We are part of the private world, and we really work hard with the government in order to promote the investment and also the production of the games. Nowadays, we are almost 2,000 professionals working in the industry here in Argentina, and we are working to create 5,000 direct shops by 2030. We are working also with the educational, with the Ministry of Education and other important actors in this world. For us, the training and the professionalization of our members is the key to success. In terms of companies, games, and also in terms of quality. We really, we are always thinking how we can help the developers to make best and better games. And well, we have a really diversity talent in our industry. Women's native content from stories about some original traditions and own stories of this part of the world. We are working in some programs, for example, very important for us because it have to be with all of these objectives that I present. One of them is the law of the promotion of the creative economy. It's an important law to promote the sector, not only games the development, and also biotechnology, software, audiovisual, and nanotechnology. A lot of industry that are working with the brain engine, and Argentina is trying to make a strong economy in the creative sector more strong, and also the agreement with UNRAF for the Observatory, and also the careers that they offer that are very successful, and they really work hard also. And we are trying with the national agency and also local agencies of investment and commercial international trade to make the opportunity to Argentina be with a presence physically or also virtually this year because of the pandemic in the international most important festivals and markets. We have the honor to have our booth in Game Connection America, Gamescom, GDC, Europe. Paula, please help me. Big festival in Brazil, very important, and we have our own event, our own conference that it's called ADVA. Some of our international partners, and this is some peaks of the international market that we visit, and this is the last part, I promise. We organize ADVA. ADVA is the Argentine Game Dev Exposition. This year, we produce it 100% digital, but it's a physical event. Maybe next year and next editions, we will think an hybrid event, because this year we really learn a lot in the digital to make a digital event that was new for us. ADVA has 18 years of life. It's centrally a conference, and also they have ADVA has different segments and important areas for the business rounds. This year, with the help of Business France and the embassy and the IFA here, we have more than 10 French companies, publishers and developers in the business rounds. And we also have, the conference and workshops, and an important other area of the event is the ADVA Play. It's the space of exhibition of the production of the year, the most important. And we have also prizes, contests, and and networking events. Next year, ADVA will be hosting September, and we are following the news about the pandemic. How is if the vaccine, we don't know. So we are thinking in a physical event with an important digital also segment, but we today we don't know, and we are in Buenos Aires and also in all the country. We have our offices in Santa Fe City, in Córdoba City, Mendoza City, that are our chapters in the most important provinces here. And here are our contacts. Let me again say thank you so much to the organizers and to my co-keeper Mariano and all our colleagues here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miguel and Mariano. Certainly, commercial and creative relations between different teams poses challenges. And if we add team working for the first time or working remotely across the Atlantic, it's still more challenging. On this panel named French and Argentinian co-production experience, The next speakers will share with us their own experience in working with French companies and counterparts. Please welcome Juan Martín Bartomioli, Studio Manager at Red Wolf Studio, Paolo Mayer, the ADVA's co-founder, and Paul Depré, Global Head of Operation in France.
Well, thank you. Bonjour. Bonjour. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you all for your virtual attendance. I hope that eventually we'll be able to share a meeting in person in the near future, of course, without the known issues that this pandemic has brought into our lives. Thank you very much for the invitation to Business France, to the French Embassy, and also thanks to the co-organizers, the Argentinian Investment and Commercial Agency, and the Video Games Association of Argentina as well. We are all partners in this webinar. We are responsible to communicate our success stories and experiences doing business between French and Argentinian companies. I'm Juan Martín Bartomioli, studio manager and founder of Red Wolf Studios, a leading entertainment company from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Let me share my screen. I have a simple presentation. Just give me 1 minute. Here, here, and here. There we go. Sorry, there we go. Well, I'm also a professor at the National University of 3 de Febrero, or UNTREF, here in Buenos Aires, so I can also talk from this other point of view. And finally, and not least, I'm father of 2 beautiful, amazing girls. They are baby girls that made my days working from home really challenging, especially in terms of concentration, but I guess I'm doing just fine. I guess we are all doing just fine, right? So let me share with you my studio profile. We are a video games development company. We were founded in 2017. We gathered this integral team of senior game devs with more than 10 years of experience in industry. We develop mainly mobile game using Unity, but we also have developed using for console, PC, and web games using other languages, platforms, and frameworks. And yeah, here's our success story. This game from the Might and Magic IP brought to you by Ubisoft Paris. But let me recap first how it all began to us. For me, the story started in late 2018 when the Buenos Aires government launched an accelerator program in association with the Paris & Co. and the Paris government as well. So I applied to this accelerator program with my recently founded video games startup, and luckily I won. So I won the opportunity to travel and work for a whole month in Paris, thanks to the co-work space and mentoring that the people from Paris and Co provided us. Of course, it was a dream to me to travel to Paris to find all these similarities between our cultures and cities. I really felt like home from the very beginning, especially talking to French people, not only about business, but we also have talked about culture, sports, social life, history, politics, of course. Yeah, we share the same passion to discuss about these topics, Argentinians as well. And while I was falling in love with the city and the people and their culture, well, business opportunities were being explored. day by day. I had the chance to meet with so many gaming studios and publishers for the first time. So for me and Red Wolves, it was such a great expansion. So I decided to, after that, I decided to travel at least twice a year to consolidate business relationships and always trying to make up new ones, of course, like the ones I'm hoping to set up with you today. I can tell you that we are very used to working remotely with excellence. You can rely on that, but I can also assure you that I'm going to travel again and again to France and will maintain a constant presence with prospects and especially with clients and co-producers. Because I believe that a personal relationship leads to a long-term business relationship, and we are always looking to develop long-term relationships. I mean, we are not here for a summer love. We are here to strongly develop our businesses together for many years. That's our goal. Well, other results from my first experience in Paris with this accelerator program. Well, I met Paul Depre, who's here in this webinar as well. So if you, probably you have met him before, but if you don't, I strongly advise to meet him eventually in Paris. He was a great colleague, very generous with me from the very beginning. And I'm very thankful for that, Paul. Thanks. Other results besides Ubisoft that I'm proud of. Well, I signed a special publishing deal with Voodoo. Nowadays, they don't sign this kind of contract that I got. And we are developing hyper-casual games. We have a small team inside Red Wolves dedicated to this genre, to this business model. We have also meetings with Homa Games, and I really appreciated their advice as well. The chance to work with them is always there, so thank you. And then it came this best contract that we could ever made in our recent and fresh history as a studio. I mean, we work alongside Ubisoft Paris in their upcoming title, Might and Magic Chess Royale, that you are looking right now at the screen. This was a mobile game that was released in January 2020, and it wasn't an easy deal. We developed our relationship in 2 years after that initial meeting in person in Paris, when the opportunity finally arose. And we were prepared to answer the call, as we say it. Argentinian developers are very eager to solve urgencies, to quickly adapt to many situations. And this versatility made us quickly adapt to the Ubisoft workflow and structure and their needs. And at that time, they have these special urgencies and needs. And we had the chance to be there and work alongside with them. We eventually managed to become one with them as a team. And I want to tell you that the process involved, for example, that our best engineers from Red Wolves and myself had to travel to the Ubisoft offices in Paris at first from the very beginning. And we worked in their offices for 3 months. That's all we could stay in Paris without a legal working visa, actually. But it was really a long period of time to adapt and work there. So my team worked there in their offices, like I said, and they understood how the project was coded. And in that way, we have built trust. That's very important, of course. We were the first outsourcing studio for the Paris studio. So after that, we came back to our country and continue working with them remotely, just perfectly fine. So the rest of our games portfolio is available. If you want to take a good look at it, please send me an email or message, and I will gladly send it to you as soon as we finish today. For us, for our core team, the whole Ubisoft experience meant fast growing. we had to scale the team very quickly. Today, the size of our team is more than 20, and we are aiming to scale up to 30 developers in the near future. We have these new projects we are working on right now. That's the main reason. So please feel free to contact me after this or leave me a message. We are always looking for new challenges or projects in France. Let's have a call soon and explore possible collaborations between our companies. And well, thank you very much for watching and listening. Merci beaucoup, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Juan Martin. If we remind our audience to write down your questions at the chat box. Thanks.
I think I'm the next one, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if it's already showing or not. There we go. Is it on? Is the presentation on? Okay. Well, as Juan Martin said, thanks for the invitation, for all of you that keep us pushing us into making the Argentinian industry even bigger. So I appreciate that effort from all of you. My name is Paolo Mayer. I'm one of the founders and the director of content from the other guys. I've been around for quite some time now, 15 years in the video games industry. I founded another game studio called Three Melons in 2005, and that was acquired in 2010 by Playdom and then by Disney. But my most recent project is The Other Guys, founded in 2012 in Buenos Aires as well. Just to give you an idea of what we do, we create interactive series. That would be like an adaptation of those, I don't know if you ever have read those Choose Your Own Stories books, and we turn this into an interactive experience. I'm gonna let my friend Squeezy, that is a very well-known influencer in France.
Linda Brown, la fameuse. Qui est-elle? Qu'est-ce qu'elle fait? Qu'est-ce qu'elle veut? J'en sais rien. Elle va à l'aéroport. Ah! Le début de jeu, c'est on se fait agresser par un mec qui a l'air un peu mégalo et qui se croit BG.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais là? Pourquoi tu me suis?
Alors pour des raisons évidentes, Clément va ajouter des voix au personnage, parce qu'il n'y en a pas de base. Bon, on fait bien des dessins, les voix, on la flemme.
Écoute-moi, ne pars pas Linda.
Oh non, c'est un gars qu'on a lâché, parce qu'on est une femme forte indépendante et que lui c'est un vieux con.
Trop tard, Kevin. Mais chérie.
Il n'y a pas de mais, Kevin. Non, c'est non.
Laisse-moi tranquille, Kevin, j'ai un vol à prendre.
Voilà, ça c'est bien
Ne
dit.
t'avise pas de partir, Linda.
Eh mais Kevin, c'est simple là. On va venir, on va te casser les jambes tous, ok? Tu menaces pas une meuf comme ça. Espèce de gros chien, va. Tu le rejettes violemment, le rejeter poliment. Mais on le rejette violemment! Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Héros de puta! Quoi? Attends, mais il y a embrouille direct là! On est tous comme ça là! Attends, j'ai rêvé où il allait lever la main sur elle? Kevin se souviendra de la gifle que tu lui as donnée. Arrêtez, je sais qu'il a aimé au fond.
Si tu ne veux pas d'ennui, je te conseille de partir tout de suite.
Je m'en vais, mais je te promets que ce n'est pas fini, Linda. Même chose pour toi, crétin.
Excusez-moi, il y a eu un petit souci sur les expressions de visage quand même.
Est-ce que vous êtes blessé?
Mais attendez, mais est-ce que c'est pas ce mâle alpha viril qu'on a tous fait genre d'être à un moment dans notre vie pour plaire à une fille? Oui. Je peux me débrouiller toute seule? Merci pour votre aide. On se débrouille toute seule, mon pote. On est Linda Brown, une femme forte indépendante. Tu crois qu'on a besoin de toi, Bruno? Ça se trouve tout ça avec un coup monté, t'es un pote de l'autre et tu veux m'envahir en étant un pote de l'autre. Non, attendez, peut-être que je m'emporte un peu. Peut-être qu'on devrait laisser une chance à Bruno et lui faire confiance. On va le remercier pour son aide, c'est la moindre des choses. Je suis faible.
Eh bien, merci.
Okay, so that gives an idea of what we do. We really try people to feel they are inside like a soap opera, telenovela, or inside a series, and we really try them to get engaged in the story and in the decisions. Like if you are in control of the story, And that's what actually we monetize. Some of the decisions that you will have in the story are paid decisions, and people really get into, I don't know, choosing one of the characters, kissing them, and so on. We have released our main two apps. Is Linda Brown is one of them, and the other one is Journeys. So we got like more than 50 million downloads so far. We have created 18 series and more than 1,000 episodes. We have localized all of our games into 6 languages, and it's part of the, I would say, the success in terms of our strategy or publishing strategy. We have a very broad audience, very global. France actually is one of our biggest markets in terms of audience, but also in terms of revenue. Our main target audience is female and also quite young. And recently we were acquired no more than a month and a half ago by Gameloft. That's a French company. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. One is what took us here to being able to be acquired by Gameloft. There are some like things that I would say that we decisions that we took and things that we did that has to do both with what we have here in Argentina and what we found in France as well. But I would say that one of the key things for being able to do that was talent. We have a very strong tech talent and audiovisual talent down here, both with animation, movies, advertising. So for us, that we have a very specific type of game, it was very easy to find talent to create this sort of like animated series experience. And the tech talent is very well known, not only in the region, but I would say nowadays worldwide. We have very good developers down here. So the first thing I would say is that being able to put together a very talented team. We have as well a very strong entrepreneurial ecosystem that allow us, I mean, for us to create not only one, but 2 different startups, and got a lot of support from different associations like ADVA or some like more like from tech startups that work with us along all these years to be even more stronger. As being so far away, I would say that we are natural born global, and we don't have a very big video games market, I would say, internally in Argentina. So we are forced to look for new horizons and new opportunities all over the world. And that's like kind of a hunger we have inside of putting our games in the rest of the world. So that's a good thing. We're always looking for things with big impact. And Mariano also mentioned some of the things. I mean, and this phrase that it's always make me laugh. An Argentine is an Italian who speaks Spanish, thinks he's French, and secretly likes to be British. I mean, I would say we're kind of citizens of the world in some way. We have a mix of everything. But I would say that it's helped us communicate. We are very good communicators. We're very open and in some ways, and this is more like an internal thing from the process of being acquired by Gameloft. But we had different offers from different companies, and we ended up choosing Gameloft mainly because there was a very big even I don't speak French, but the empathy and speaking the same language, I would say, in terms of vision of, I know, the world, even the sense of humor. I mean, it was very important for us to even make a joke, maybe in a formal or informal meeting, and get the response that we were expecting. That's something that it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, I have nothing against the US, and our previous company was acquired by a US-based company, but there are some ways we can connect with European, I would say, or this is my particular vision, that resonates differently, and it makes everything more easy in terms of, communication is key with co-productions. And I think that the match we had there was very, very important, even more important than the business part, I would say. And it leads to this. I mean, creating games is not very easy. Creating games from Argentina is not very easy. And so I would say that one of the common things you will find in Argentinians, especially doing video games studios, is resilience. I mean, we can adapt really, really quick to things that change, and we are always pushing forward and to make things happen. So merci. That's my presentation for now.
Thanks, Pablo.
Okay, so I think I'm the next one, right? So the transition is kind of made.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So hello everyone, bonjour, buenos dias. So as I think Juanma already introduced me, and thank you for the nice introduction. I don't know if I really deserve it. So I'm Paul Depre. I'm currently the head of operations for Globant in France and also Switzerland, and also leading head of gaming for the company in all EMEA and Pacific. And I think we were discussing with Jerome in Business France about this webinar, and I really appreciated that he invited me, because I would like to share with you today more than what is Globant, what we do, etc. More of like personal notes about collaboration between and synergy between Argentina and France. So long story short, so I moved to Buenos Aires in 2007 to join Globant, right? Globant Gameloft, sorry. Where, let me see if I can share my screen. I don't know if I can share it. Well, anyway, where I joined Gameloft in 2007, I think we were around 200 people in Buenos Aires. So you can imagine that there was already Gameloft exploding and focusing on the Argentinian market, which means a lot, right? At that time, Gameloft was the big company, the big mobile company. iPhone was getting released on the market. So I've been in Gameloft when we really, get into the Argentinian market, and that was a beautiful experience, because we really, started to see how we can foster the talent that was in Buenos Aires, then in Cordoba, and be able to really build. At that time, were like AAA games on iPhone. So for instance, one of the big games we created at that time was a Ubisoft license called Hoax that we ported into iPhone. Imagine that at that time we had, like iPhone 3G was the big thing, right? So we could finally put shaders on an iPhone. So that was the first time, I got into Argentina and the video game industry. And since then at some point I moved to Globant in 2010. And I think all is mixed together, right? Because I met Globant during one of the ADVA conventions, so the video game convention in Argentina, where I was giving a talk about game production tips and toolbox, and I met that with Globant at that time. So right now, for me today, this webinar is like everything getting at the same time at the same place. And at Globant we started. I started to co-create, I would say, the gaming capabilities and studio, right? Again, so Globant right now, I've been with the company for almost 10 years. When I joined the company, we were around 1,000 people. Today we were 15,000 people. So we got a really massive growth. We became a public company in 2014, and So Globant is not just about video games, right? It's mainly a digital transformation company, but we have a dedicated gaming studio of around, it depends, but between 400 and 500 people, right? And we bring services to most of the big players in the arena, not just in Europe, but in the US and Canada also. So, for instance, we are part of the FIFA development team for almost 10 years now, NBA, NHL, all the gaming sports. We work with Far Cry, with Ubisoft. We work with Warner Bros, WB Games on, well, actually we had a team working on the next game that will be done for next gen consoles on Harry Potter. So, we're the company that bringing services. So if I have to compare to all my friends here, we might be this, big creature, but we don't do our own games, right? We don't do our own IP. So I think that's really complementary in the way that we work with game publishers and game teams around the world. We don't publish our own games, so we don't have our own IP. All the other guys around there, they have their own IP. So I think it really shows also how Argentina is able to, be complementary in the way we bring services and we help or collaborate with companies in France and all around the world. And so today, Globant in France, we are at Station F. So for those that know, so we're not a startup anymore, but let's say that they were willing. I mean, Station F was willing to get the only Argentinian unicorn that exports itself around away from Argentina. So we are the only unicorn to really, open let's say offices and development centers around the world. So we are based out of Station F, and in Europe we work with, in France we work with Ubisoft. We're starting to work with other companies here, smaller companies. So we don't only work with big publisher, but also with smaller studios. So for instance, in Denmark, we work with a company called Cray that is, I think, a 20 people company where they're building kind of a Roblox competitor. So that's a bit about me and Globant. I don't want to pitch Globant too much because this is what I do all the time. So I'm get a bit of tired of doing that. And if you want to hear about Globant, I think we can get in touch in another moment. But for you to know, yeah. So mainly in gaming, we do code development, art, UX, UI, QA, and clouds and live ops type of services. But I would like, I think the idea today is really more for the people in France to understand, how easy it is to work with Argentinian companies. And I think it's more about less about pitching Globant, more about pitching, how Argentina and France are really compatible, I would say, markets and cultures. So if I would take 2 points and to explain why is it so successful, right? The way that the Argentinian, let's say, ecosystem is so exporting that much and so big for a small between brackets country. First, even if you think that it's a centralized country, I can tell you that compared to France, it's a really decentralized country. You have development centers, talent centers all around the country. It's not like in France where you have everything in Paris, a bit in Lyon, a bit in Bordeaux, a bit in Marseille. Here you have, as you saw at the beginning, right, with Miguel presentation, you have 35-40% in Buenos Aires, which is the third of the population. That's fine. But then you have, people from Mendoza, people from Cordoba, people from, at the moment we have people in Tandil, we have people in La Plata, we have people all around Argentina. And I think this is incredible how Argentina has been able to, really foster the talent everywhere. So not centralizing everything within Buenos Aires, but also being able to foster talents and also universities all around the country. And for us, today Globant we have, I think, 4,500 people in Argentina, and we have less than half of the people in Buenos Aires. All the rest is spread into the whole country. And also this is a very dynamic ecosystem, right? So when I got into Argentina, I discovered a really dynamic ecosystem where people love playing games. They are huge players. I think I've never been able to win any FIFA match in 8 years living in Argentina. So you have big, good players. And you see that during the ADVA or any convention or exhibition that there's every year you have new companies coming up on the market. People that are freshly, graduated from the university that build their own company. I mean, Juan Martin is just an example. When I left Argentina in 2015, there was no company such as his company. And now there are like 20 people, and companies like that you have all around the country. I think it was during last Gamescom in Köln in Germany. I met with, because we were, with the Argentinian embassy, and I met with so many new people. I knew the typical guy that were in the industry since day one, like Javier Otaegui and all those people, but you also have like a fresh new brand, I would say, talent coming on the market. So it's really a very dynamic ecosystem. So that's for me what makes it really successful. And I can tell you that also for not just in my behalf, but also in behalf of Globant, this is why we see that Argentina is really a strong market for the gaming talents. And I don't know how much time I still have, but I would complement that with and finish with a more personal note, right? So I spent, I think, 8 years living in Argentina, and I've been working for Argentina companies for 10 years, right? So I think in my day, I speak way more Spanish than French, or even English, right? So I think I can share a bit why this is so exciting to work with Argentinian companies. First, because, and it's something that we need when we do games, we need patience, right? So patience can be a bad thing. So don't talk about on the Sundays about politics in an Argentinian barbecue. That's not the good thing to do. But please use the passion in a good way. That making games is about bringing our passion to life. I'm a passionate game producer. I've been doing games for 15 years now. If you look at this is a poster from Monkey Island. So this is something that is in my day-to-day. And we need that when we do games. So really foster the passion in the great way. Also, and I think it's something we saw, we discussed already, that there's a huge cultural proximity with French, right? And I can tell you because many times because we also have, for instance, offices in India, right, or in Belarus. And sometimes my clients, they say, no, I want to work with Argentina because we are the same blend. We're the same people. Yeah, we have 15,000 kilometers difference. That's fine. But when I meet with an Argentinian, it can be you, Paul. It can be like any kind of French guy, because we talk about wine, we talk about football, we talk about tennis, we talk about rugby. I mean, how many countries in the world have a rugby team and they follow rugby, right? If you take out France and some crazy Saxon countries, and so really, that sounds maybe stupid when I'm saying that, but that's what makes the essence of a good team spirit, right? Having some patience and some discussions to share on a daily basis. And then I would say last point is that I would recommend you to look on how you can collaborate with Argentina, because I mean it can be competitive in terms of cost, that's for sure. But also try to get invited to Argentina when you work with them on a project, and I think that will speak for itself. Once you get into Buenos Aires, spend your time hanging around in Buenos Aires, and you feel like home. So I hope that we can. I could talk for hours about that. I met my wife in Argentina, so part of my life is now linked to Argentina. So this is easy for me to talk about it. And feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk about that, about Globant, about what's the best way to start engaging with an Argentinian company. I would be more than happy, and I think we did that with Juan Martin when he was in France. Really happy to share, our best practices and really make sure that I can help, fostering this partnership. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Also, thanks, Juan Martin and Pablo. We remember our audience to write down your questions at the chat box. Several games published worldwide might have born as projects during university years or as a result of the collaboration between students abroad. On this last panel, named Professional Education and Program, speakers bring us a prospect on how universities in Argentina promote video games careers and look for new opportunities with international partners. And also, they will tell us more about how different cultural cooperation activities between France and Argentina has resulted in the recent years. Please welcome Andres Rossi, Director of User Experience Lab, and Hernán Revale, Director in charge of the Secretariat of Research and Technology Transfer, both from Universidad Nacional de Rafaela. And we welcome Rémi Guité, Regional Audiovisual Manager at l'Institut Français d'Argentine.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
Everyone.
Well, we are going to share some slides. So, well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you, Jerome, and all the team for generating this webinar. We think in Rafaela, in the National University of Rafaela, for us, it's really important to be part of these interactions with other countries and institutions. As Paula said, I'm the Director of Research and Technology Transferring at the university, and Andres is the Director of the User Experience Lab and also the Director of the Bachelor in Video Game Development that he's going to be presenting in a few minutes. So a quick general idea about the National University of Rafaela. We are quite a new university. We were born in December of 2014, but actually we started with our first 3 programs in 2016. Nowadays we have more than around 15 or 16 undergraduate and postgraduate programs. I'm not pretty sure because they are open like on a monthly basis. We are there in the middle of Argentina, and we took advantage that we are a new university, so we focus our attention to create undergraduate and postgraduate programs related to technology, innovation, entrepreneurship. So just a quick view of some of the programs we have at the university. Some examples, of course, the video game production and digital entertainment that Andres is going to be presenting, the computer science engineering, industrial design, audiovisual and digital media, mechatronics, bioinformatics, also agroinformatics and data science. These 3 programs are opening next year. Management of technology, administration and management of information, and an MBA focus on the management of technology and digital change in companies. If you want more information, of course, you have the institutional webpage, and then we will provide some contact info. Also, this is also like a small example. We are really focused on foster and develop our international relationships with not only with universities around the world, but with all institutions that we think that we have points to work in common together. So just an example, we have already an agreement with the National Institute in France, in Rouen, sorry for the pronunciation. And also regarding video games, we have an agreement with the Cologne Game Lab in Germany. We have many more agreements. That what I wanted to show you here is that we are really willing to connect with institutions not only in Argentina, but around the world, and of course in France. Well, now Andres is going to present the bachelor.
Thank you, Hernan. Okay, as Hernan said, I'm the director of the bachelor in video game production and digital entertainment. It is the first undergraduate degree in Argentina, and it's the only one focused in production and completely free in Latin America. It's a 5 years degree, 9 semesters for the bachelor and 6 semesters for the university technician. And we are oriented to video game and VR, augmented reality and mixed reality, always as producer. Why it's very important to have the idea to create a producer? Because we are in our city, in our region, we are we have a tradition creating products from the metal mechanic, for the agro industry, and we have this kind of idea for our university. At this moment, we have more than 200 students, and the first cohort will finish next year. And we have the subject are in 6 topics: production, technology, art, game design, calculation, and foreign languages, specifically English. It's very important for us to have people trained in languages, because these strong capabilities in Argentina, the skills at the moment to create video games, need to be supported with a long-term program in foreign language. It is a big picture of the different subjects in the topics. That's a big picture of the year by year, the different topics distributed around the different years. Always the idea is, okay, to create a product. Why? Because the Argentinian people have a strong skill, for example, in development, in arts, but at the moment to work together, to create a team, we have some challenge. We work a lot to create this, the idea, the big picture of the game, the big picture of the product we will launch, and work all together. That is the motive to have a 5 years degree, because probably you say, okay, you can train in the lesser time, but we need to teach how to work together to have a good result. Our main technology, Unreal, Unity 3D, and HTML5. That's a global idea about the degree we have in video game development.
Okay, now I'm going to continue to present you some places or resources that we've been creating here at the university that you might find interesting, besides the bachelor, of course, that Andres already presented. So we created a few years ago an applied research center whose name is UNRAFTEC, and this is the place where we want to interact to foster the relationship with the productive sector, the private sector, so the companies. We already have really good experiences with companies in our region regarding the technology transfer and the research and development of new products or new ideas with the productive sector. Well, now I'm going to present you some spaces we created. These are not all the spaces we have inside the UNRAFTEC, this applied research center. We have more, but just the ones we think it might be interesting for you. So the first one is the Observatory of Argentinian video game industry. We created like 2 years ago together with ADVA. You already have a big view, an idea of the information we get. We realized with ADVA that there's not official information about this particular industry in Argentina. So we create this observatory in order to gather this data, and we are creating reports on a yearly basis. So we have reports since 2018. Maybe it's interesting for you that the 2 last reports are also in English, are translated. So if someone is interested, we can send it to you. You can write us and we can send it to you. That's again a quick view of the highlights of the information of this last year, but I'm going to continue. We also have the Entrepreneurship Club. This is a space where we do 2 main things. On one hand, we try to, again, foster the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we do meetups, we create workshops, talks with entrepreneurs, with people from the industry. Just to give an example, for us, it would be really interesting to have a French video game company to give a presentation about the French video game ecosystem. On the other hand, we we incubate companies related to technology. So there at the bottom right, you have just two examples of some entrepreneurs we've been working with. One is related to 3D printing, the other one is related to electric mobility. So this is another space we have inside the university. Also, we have the user experience lab. So this is a place where we offer services to the private sector, again, regarding user experience, not only video game companies, but all kinds of companies that need some help, or they are thinking to do some research and development regarding user experience. Also, we have the virtual reality and motion capture lab. Here we are doing some really interesting developments regarding VR. And yes, we are working with professor students and again, some private companies. And last but not least, I wanted to present you what we are preparing for next year is this bridge program that it could be interesting for you. That the idea is that you are not alone. You have all this ecosystem that I presented to you here at this National University of Rafaela. We know that we can work together with the private sector very well. We can develop both parts very well. We have all this ecosystem and much more that I couldn't present you in this amount of time. But the idea of this bridge program is to offer all these capabilities we have as a framework for French video game companies in order to help them to establish here in Argentina. So the idea is 3 general stages. Of course, first of all, we have to get in touch and get to know each other. I think they already made a really good presentation, Paul and the people from ADVA, that it's really easy to connect people from Argentina and France. We are similar in many ways. We can then sign a collaboration agreement, so agree in a project that we want to work together, and then start. It could be the establishment of a company, it could be a particular project, or regarding some common objectives we could have. There you have the contact of Andres. We can manage to make a call, so we are very happy to be here, and you are very welcome to write any question now at the chat or to Andres at that email.
Yes, keep in mind we are training people. We have just on video game bachelor more than 200 students. Also, we can include people from engineers and other designers. We can provide from initial or semi-senior project manager to developers or artists. That's the idea, to have a program to include all together in the same kind of way to work. Okay, that's all for us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andres and Hernan.
Hi again, everybody. Yes, thank you for your participation. I think after such a long hour of talking, everybody has a nice view of what can be done, what has already been done, what are the values shared between France and Argentina. So I just want quickly, in 3-5 minutes, to share some insights. Maybe not to sum up, because I couldn't sum up as I'm only an observer of the video games industry and not a professional of the video games industry, but try to sum it up and share some actions we do from the French Institute in Argentina in respect of the cultural side, I would say, of video games. So first of all, I think we see that Argentina and France are 2 different and very complementary ecosystems. We both have talents, we know, because we went across many of them. We both have educational programs, and some are already linked between us. And we have, above all, strong identities. Paul has shared with us some jokes that can be made between asados and barbecues. There are many more to be discovered. Above all, because not only Argentina is a European nation stuck in Latin America, but also it has its own mythology, its own imaginaries that everybody can discover talking with Argentinians, and that go far beyond that all that has been said to the date. So I really encourage people to meet up, be it in professional areas or be it in personal areas, to get to know what identity can bring to video games, because it's not only technical talent, but it's also passion, it's also desire, and it's imaginary and well, I would say spiritual design of the game. So we share all those values, but we also share strong links between the industries. The ADVA as a sister association in France, which is Syndicat National des Jeux Vidéo, and you're already in touch, and Institut Français and Business France and ASC can always help you to connect and get more contacts through our associations, through the association in France, through associations in Argentina, and you don't have to hesitate to ask us how to connect, what can be done, what are the programs that are being done. The Bridge program, for example, that Hernan and Andres are just presenting, could be fostered by Institut Français in Paris and be also exported by our sister business agencies, so that everybody knows that those programs are available. I would also draw your attention to the events. ADVA is the most sustainable event in Latin America, because there are others in Brazil, but ADVA is the only one in the Spanish zone that has a relevance and a durability that has not been interrupted in any years, not even by the pandemic. So you can be sure that it is a place to meet up and discuss that will still be there and should be useful to you. With Business France and the French embassy here, we brought every year French delegation, and we will bring you information all along the year, so you can come back to ADVA and you can follow up this conversation you already had with the Argentinian developers, and that we are here to help you foster. We not only share all the spaces and all those values, but we also share experiences. And these experiences have been drawn by all the previous speakers, so I won't go through them again. But still, I will underline how much there are cycles that can be useful in the Argentinian economy that can bring strong French entrepreneurs to Argentina and who can stay despite of the critical economic cycles that Argentina suffers. For now, for example, the peso currency is quite low, but the government is profiting from that to try to bring new investment in Argentina, not only for services, but aiming at co-production. Why that? Because both countries share a common vision of what is the role of public policy in the video games industry and the cultural creative economy in general. So that's my second point. And I think that's a very important point that both countries share at a point that is quite rare in the world, because it's in the Anglo-Saxon part of the world, you don't have any states fostering cultural creative economy as we do have in France and that Argentina is doing. Argentina, somebody talked about that recently as a plan for creative and cultural industry. It has different laws, and the laws that weren't passed before the pandemic were passed during the pandemic. So it shows how much, in spite of the critical situation we're all suffering in the world, especially in Latin America, in this pandemic, the creative economy remained at the top of the agenda of the Argentinian government. This law allows people to enjoy tax rebate, not only when you install in Argentina, but when you can invest in Argentina. And the objective of the law is also to foster exports from Argentina. So every content that is produced in Argentina can also enjoy tax rebate when it is exported. So it allows people not only to profit from services made in Argentina, because it's also exports from Argentina, but also to produce in Argentina and export from Argentina to the world. On the other side of the ocean in France, the developments of government funds for video games are quite strong. CNC, which is the equivalent of the Inca in Argentina. Those the Center for National Cinematographic Image, an animated image, which includes video games, and not only includes video games, but also VR and all the other sectors. As two funds, a fund for pre-productions and a fund for productions that business based in France can apply to, but not only business based in France, but co-productions with a base in France can apply to these funds. To show you some figures, in the pre-production fund has enjoys every year a 3.6 million budget that it is given to a range of 20 to 30 projects in France. The only limit to those funds is a very nice limit, because you have to be the owner of your IP to do that. So that's in that respect that the creative economy law in Argentina, which fosters production and export, so which fosters also having your IPs in Argentina, is totally parallel and mirroring what we do in France, because those funds, which are quite strong, and the other fund is also giving more than 12 million euros, so that's 15 million euros every year that CNC gives to around 50 projects in total. And the condition is that you have financial and artistical and technical resources based in France and Europe at the 2/3. So that's a minimum that 2/3 of the financial of the capital and resources are in Europe, but the last third can be extra-European. And with the bilateral agreements we have on the cultural exceptions that we both share at the UNESCO, so that every cultural production, every cultural production which has to do with industry, so every creative and cultural industry is accepted from all the trade agreements that for some countries ties them to open everything they do to the law of global competitivity. So I don't know if I'm making me very clear. So not in every country you can have, you can avoid the global law of the market. So that's something we share between Argentina and France in cinema and also in video games right now, because our institute in France is fostering that, and that the creative law and economy in Argentina is fostering that. And it's also give me the occasion to say that this law was first approved in Cordoba province, so not as a national law, but in one of the provinces, and that step by step it has been implemented at the national level. So it shows how much the country has different clusters that are trying to organize themselves, as we saw with you in Rafaela, and as other people mentioned in Mendoza, Cordoba, but that it is now a policy of the government to try to equalize that and to make everybody, every association, every professional ecosystem in Argentina profit from that. So I think it's quite important for everyone in France to know that. And it's also important for Argentinians to know that funds in France are available in case of co-productions to the French counterpart, as it is in cinema. As for the Institut Français d'Argentine, I just wanted to say that with Business France, we accompany delegation every year, but we also accompany, how to say, I wouldn't say exhibition or diffusion, but space of cultural understanding regarding video games. We do that usually in November, because November is a month dedicated to digital in all the Instituts Français in the world. And we enjoy that in Buenos Aires there is a cultural center who also has a Noviembre Electrónico, a digital November. So in this framework, we are putting forward the first Franco-Argentinian Game Jam next November. It will be from the 24th to the 28th of November. We'll send you all the information, and we'll try to build binational teams to collaborate on doing a game along the whole week of this digital November, so that people can come together and maybe share another common language than English. We'll try to have people in France speaking Spanish subscribing to the action, and maybe Argentinian speaking a bit of French, so that some team could have another common language to share, which is always a good thing. That's all. I could develop other features, but I think those insights are the most important for me to share with you. And as it's a way also maybe to sum up the discussions, and I will let Paola do it better than me right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Remy, and also Andres and Hernan. We are running out of time, so all the questions will be delivered to the speakers, and also we'll share all the presentations. Well, to make a brief recap of the three panels, it has been really interesting to listen first how game industry in Argentina has been growing and how much talent Argentine studios displays and have to offer. Secondly, it's been refreshing getting to know more about co-productions and synergy experiences between Argentine and French companies, which also may be inspiring to other Argentine studios to look for French counterparts and the other way around. And finally, considering other agents of the game ecosystem, such as universities or cooperation institutions, and pointed out their activities, especially help us to understand more the sector, its dynamic and potential. Also, on the other hand, as this webinar title says, bridges to co-create and produce interactive content between France and Argentina, I truly think we've made a new step toward the strengthening of Franco-Argentine relations, and I wish more game projects can come to light after this. So finally, I would like to express my acknowledgement to all speakers on the three panels, the institutions involved on this event who made it possible, such as Business France, and especially thanks to Jerome Marechal, who really contact us and join us and make this together, l'Institut Français d'Argentine and ADVA, the Argentine Game Developers Association, and to all the participants for taking time out of your busy duties to attend this webinar. On behalf of the Argentina Invest and Trade Promotion Agency, it's been a great honor to moderate the Game from Argentina webinar. Thank you all and have a nice day.